G'day all, and welcome back to Murder Valley. I thought what I'd do is I'd do a video after showing how to make the foam tire donuts. I thought I'd do a video to show how to make tires, and I went back to my original how I used to do it, and because the only thing I sort of really had at the time that I thought was the original, you know, stick it on a car and just machine them down on the car. So what I've got here is I've got a power straight cut down, got an AFX power supply, AFX controller, plug, and then a bit of putty or cable tie or whatever else. And then all I've ended up doing is reminding myself how hot the motor gets and how it's hard work on the little plastic gears because they're not meant to take that amount of load. So I ended up went, oh, well, maybe this power supply can't handle it, right? So then I've got a variable power supply, and I drilled 2 holes in here, so I've got something with good amps, and yeah, that powered the car up heaps better. But then what I ended up with, just pop them back out, they're a nice tight fit. Then what I ended up with was melted track on the positive rail, right? So I clearance the plastic away from that, and yeah. So like I've got a pair of screws there that sit under the magnet to hold the back of the car up, pair to center the car, one in from underneath to limit the guide pin. And look, I started doing all this because I'm like, oh, I'll show you how I started. And all I've reminded myself is, honestly, this is just not the go. On car is not the way to go. You're just going to damage gears. You're going to damage motors. You need something else, right? But while this car was running, right, it reminded me of something else, and it spurred me on for another topic. Look at those front wheels running. They don't spin true. Now, people say to me, oh, you know, Tommy turbos aren't that good. Why has it stopped? Tommy turbos aren't that good. They don't, you know. This is interesting. Oh, the bit of putty. Okay. Worked that one out a bit too slowly. So, let's just take a bit of weight off the front and let those wheels spin true again. People go, oh, Tommy turbos don't handle that good. So everyone looks at a problem and comes up with a different answer, right, of how to fix it. But this is not one that I've raced. It's not a new one, but anyway, so then what it started me on the path of, well, this is why I like foam tyres, because you can sand them. So even if your rims run out of true, you can lightly sand. Right, so here we go. You can see evidence marks of where I've done this before. Chassis upside down, and in a diagonal motion, so you want the axle to spin, because if you just go straight across, you're going to put flat spots. Right, so you're putting the weight on the outside wheel. So this one, I'm pushing the tyre onto the rim, and now I'm doing this one. So now I'm pushing the tyre onto the rim, right? Okay, fine. But then it made me, this is what you can also do with the foam tyres, right? So if your rims are out of round, because I absolutely guarantee 100% my foam tyres, the hole is in the centre of the tyre. So the two are concentric, right? So if your rim's out of round, so's my tyre once you put it on there, right? But then it reminded me of something else. And I don't think I've ever posted a video about this before, ever, right? So I'm going to do some tyre comparisons, and we're talking weights. So this is the original tyre off this Tommy Turbo, right? So this is the original rubber. You see the little nipple things in the back, right? So this is Tommy Turbo tyre. And that weighs in at, and I can put it in a couple of different spots, and it comes in slightly different weights, but it's around about the 0.49, 0.5 grams, right? So let's just call it 0.5. The next tyre I have up for test, this is a gel claw, right? So that's coming in around 0.45. Let's stick it in a couple of different 0.44, 0.44, 0.44. Let's call it 0.44 because that sort of came up most. This is a Viper. This is a Viper silicon that we used to run on the back of our Tommy Turbos and Bulldogs. We used to run these as a series. They're made for the Mega G, but yeah, so that's 0.42, 0.43, 0.44, 0.42, 0.41. All right, let's call it 0.42, right? So that's the lightest of the three. Now, this is the densest, heaviest foam tyre I make. 0.21. 0.21. Now, it's just all coming at 0.2, 0.21. So let's just call it 0.21, right? And then let's go to it. So this is an EVA foam. This is the same as what's in this donut. Now, hang on, is it? Let's. Oh, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But it's a soft one. It's not as dense as this. And that's 0.11, 0.12. Let's call it 0.12. So these, at the lightest, are half the weight of these. In real car racing, like big car racing, where people get in and sit in them and drive, one of the things they talk about with handling is to get the unsprung weight. So anything in the suspension down to the wheels, tyres, whatever, to get the unsprung weight down as low as you possibly can. So I'm going to put it out there and I'm going to say, when you're running big magnet cars, like big strong magnets and that sort of stuff, silicon tyres, all that sort of stuff, because you want something rigid, you want something that's compliant, because if you've got something soft, like really soft like this, that just compresses right up with a strong magnet, that'd be absolute rubbish because the car would just be sitting on the track, right? So if you're running big magnets, non-compliant is what you want. But when you go into the lighter end of the magnet scale and all the way down to non-mag, what you actually want is you want that level of compliance. And we're basically talking like air pressures in a real tyre in a real car now. Something you can use for tuning is the density of the foam. Now, also being able to pull in a lighter weight. Now, obviously, there's no springs in this, but the rotating mass, reducing the weight of the rotating mass is going to make it faster and make it handle better. And these are all the things that I probably, like I've never put them on a video. I've never sort of really shared this sort of stuff before, but this is all part of the reason why, to me, foam tyres are just such an integral part of what I do and the way I tune and the way I build tracks, because I try to encourage people to build tracks like the big 124 tracks that you walk into a commercial raceway and you see these big flowy tracks with large radius curves and then a few little tight spots, so you can really get the cars out there and wind there and really push them to their limit so they can race door to door competitively without just having to back off the throttle just to try and keep on the corners. A lot of guys who build 132 tracks and 124 tracks at home are very limited for space, so they build short straights and tight corners. But the Ho guys, this is the one that does my head in. The Ho guys seem to have this limitation of a plywood sheet. So what is it in feet? It's what's it, 3 foot by? I don't know. It's in millimeters. It's 1200 by 2400 sheet, right? And this is what everyone seems to build themselves, or smaller. And I, just because it's a small scale doesn't mean we have to build a small horrible track like the bigger guys have to, because they're limited by space. I highly recommend building a track that's at least 3.6 meters long. 3.6 to 4 meters long. That gives you a good long, if you've got one full length straight and some good radius curves at the end of that, you can really make these things, like, you get them on the straight and they top out and they woo down the, down the straight. They're fantastic. Build something with some realistic radius curves where you're not just, if you're running super tight stuff and all you're relying on's magnets to keep you on, and that's what you do and that's what you got to do, then but to anyone building a new track, right, anyone who's watching this stuff, who my sort of slot car channel Motor Valley appeals to, you know what I mean? Like, if what I'm doing appeals to you and the sort of track designs I'm sort of putting out, and like my routed track that I'm building, my whole focus is on building a smaller scale 124 track. Like, if this is your thing, if this is something that inspires you, rather than these tracks with really, like some of them have got good long straights, but then they've got a really tight curve at the end of it. So like really without magnets on them, like big strong magnets, I'm talking, not just magnets, you just come off all the time. But if this sort of stuff appeals to you, then I'm telling you, these tyres, they're what you want. I'm not even mucking around. If these are rubbish, I wouldn't bother making them, and I certainly wouldn't be bothered making videos of them. These are, if you want to recapture the stuff of walking into a massive big 124 commercial track in the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s, and it doesn't sort of really exist anymore, and you want to capture that experience in your own garage, this is your answer, right? There's always going to be room for magnet racing. Don't ever get me wrong. I am not bagging it, right? I'm not bagging it at all. But I'm just saying there's more to hoe scale than just big magnets. And if you're on that end of the scale, or you want to enjoy some stuff that's lower magnet, this is what you want. We want more manufacturers to be making this. I hope manufacturers or other suppliers are watching this, and they starting to see the trend back towards this. We want this for hoe. I can't sit there and make them for everyone. Like, I'm making them and selling them to a few race groups and a few people here and there, but there's no way. I've got a full-time job. I can't afford to sit there and make tyres for everybody else. I can't take the time. But if a commercial supplier, you know what? If AFX or Auto World released foam tyres, we'd all be thankful for it, because Auto World in particular, it would make their cars so much better. So if Auto World's paying attention, and I swear Auto World's paid attention to one of my videos before, or videos I've made before, where I've said that some smart slot car manufacturer, supplier, should put variable power supplies as in their track setup. Well, guess what? Auto World now sell a variable power supply, and literally the exact same unit, but with a plug that plugs into track, just like this, right? So Auto World, if you're listening to me, if you want to make your extractions and all that sort of stuff better, this is your answer. Front and rear foam tyres. There's your answer. I'm giving you the idea for free. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. If you really enjoy my channel, make sure you like and subscribe the video. Like the videos, subscribe to the channel. Thanks very much for watching. Anyone who's coming back, thanks very much. I really appreciate it. Get the videos out there. Show them to your mates. Show them to your 124 and 132 scale mates, and show them that there are people who are like-minded like them, who are just using hoe scale to be able to get that same thing, because they can build a decent track in their own garage. Let's get more tracks in garages, get more racing happening with blokes on weekends at home, and then hopefully one day this takes off back big enough again so we can justify having shops, and we can publicly do things and have massive tracks in shops and have racing everywhere. How good would that be? But in the meantime, boys, start building your tracks in your garage. Get some racing happening with your mates, even if all you're doing is having a barbecue and a couple of beers. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Come back and watch the next one.